This video was sponsored by Brilliant. Hey, happy Friday. This week, Apple suspiciously announced that they actually support your right to repair your Apple products. The Google Pixel Fold got cancelled, Samsung started rolling out OneUI 4, and Mediatek announced a brand new chip. Our tech knowledge quiz once again has 20 brand new questions, so if you enjoy testing yourself, that's linked down in the description, and welcome to the Friday checkout. Okay, my release highlights this week start with the Motorola G200, an ultra-aggressively priced flagship killer coming in with a Snapdragon 888 Plus, a large 5000 mAh battery, a plastic back, and a 144Hz screen for just €450 or £399. Sadly, the screen is an LCD, but beside that and Motorola's terrible software updates, this looks very solid for spec nerds. Then, on the complete opposite spectrum, we get the Japanese home appliance maker Balmuda releasing their own tiny Android phone with a 4.9-inch screen, a curved plastic build, and mid-range specs such as a Snapdragon 765. I guess that's nice for people who don't like big phones, but at $920, that is a massive oof from me, dog. Beside that, we also got a Pac-Man edition OnePlus Nord 2, which is cool, I guess, and a collector edition Mate X2 from Huawei that costs $3,100. Also an oof. To see a list of all of the new releases as well as details, check out the full release monitor and the Crowd app linked in the description. Okay, my first story of the week will be Apple suddenly announcing that they actually support consumers repairing their own Apple products, starting with the iPhone 12 and 13, and soon coming to other products such as the M1 MacBooks and more. Apple will provide parts, tools, and manuals online, and they will even take back and recycle old broken parts in exchange for a credit. The first three components they will start selling are screens, batteries, and cameras, and this program is starting in the US first, with other markets and components coming soon. And that is huge news and really unexpected, especially coming from Apple. It actually got me a little bit suspicious, so let's talk about why now, and also whether there is a catch. Alright, the why now seems pretty straightforward. There is an unprecedented wave of regulators looking into passing right to repair laws in the US and many other countries too, with the Biden administration making it a clear priority, for example. And as The Verge reported, a group of investors called New Green Century have also filed a shareholder proposal that they were literally just about to take to the Securities and Exchange Commission this week. The SEC, in case you don't know, is a law enforcement agency in charge of making sure that publicly traded companies like Apple are not being manipulated or not manipulating themselves, and this group of shareholders claimed that Apple was basically greenwashing themselves and committing market manipulation when they said that they were committed to being CO2 neutral by 2030, while they didn't actually offer sufficiently good repair options. Now, it is unclear whether this group would have actually won, but it's clear that if Apple were to fight this, that would have created terrible looking PR. And given that there is regulation on the horizon pretty much everywhere, Apple probably decided that it was smarter to go ahead and create their own repair and recycle rules proactively, rather than have others kind of force it on them using regulation and such. This lets them stay in control, and it looks much better. So that answers why Apple is moving into this direction right now. But is there a catch? Maybe, because the way Apple built this process means that they retain complete control over it. So the user is only allowed to buy original Apple components and only straight from Apple for repair. This means that they can't officially harvest parts from another dead iPhone even if they are genuine. They can't use third-party components, etc. All of those will continue to throw errors and misbehave after they are installed, even if they technically work. That means Apple gets to control what components are available, for how long, and for how much money, which could be not a problem at all if they're reasonable, or it could make this entire program completely useless. Apple could use this program to tell regulators that, hey, they offer repairs, but then simply not keep components in stock after a few years, or price them so high that people would just end up buying new phones anyway. It's all in their power. Regardless of that, I think this is generally a great step forward, and since Apple is a trendsetter, I really hope that other phone makers will follow suit too. The same way Apple got everybody to drop repairability in the first place, they could now inspire everyone to bring it right back as well. So fingers fingers crossed this isn't all just for show. Okay, my second story of the week will be disappointing news that Google's Pixel Fold phone apparently just got cancelled. This news comes from a report of Display Supply Chain Consultants, which is a very reputable source, and they claim that a Pixel Fold likely won't come out until about a year from now because Google didn't think that their current offering could be competitive enough to go up against Samsung in an already pretty niche market to make the release worth it. It was going to have a slightly inferior screen, middling cameras, and of course Google's not-so-stellar marketing prowess when compared to Samsung's. The report also says that since Samsung and Google are both weak in China, that market is still up for grabs and will likely see Chinese companies focus their foldable ambitions on their domestic market first, with the analyst, Ross, specifically saying that Oppo's foldable should come, quote, soon. And by the way, it will be an inward folding phone, just like Samsung's as well. From all the chatter that I am hearing, I wouldn't be surprised if the BBK group launched their first foldable maybe even this year, and I think it would make most sense if that focused on the Chinese market, just like Xiaomi and Huawei have done in the past as well. Now, Ross also says that Samsung's foldables are actually selling very well, even better than expected, but this new report means that we will likely not have any real competition for them here in the West for at least half a year or maybe even a full year, which is disappointing. Of course, one of the main reasons for Google to release a foldable Pixel would have been to promote Android 12L, the Android version that is specifically made for this form factor, and while the software seems to be on track and is reportedly turning out to be a pretty big deal, I do think it is disappointing that we won't see it on Google's own devices for over a year, and we'll only see skinned versions at first. Okay, and to finish up, I have two more stories because both of these are short, so this week we had 4 stories in total. First, Samsung started rolling out stable Android 12 and OneUI 4 for the Galaxy S21 series in some markets already, which is less than a month after the update came to Pixel phones, and the company also laid out a really impressive and impressively specific roadmap for a ton of devices. Every major flagship should be updated next month, and by mid-next year, all eligible devices should get the update too, of which there are many. This is a big deal, especially given that OneUI 4 is not a small update, so well done Samsung. And finally, Mediatek at their big event yesterday announced the Dimensity 9000, a proper flagship smartphone chip from Mediatek that will be competing against the best of Qualcomm and the others. It will be built by TSMC using a 4nm process, so it's completely bleeding edge. It features the brand new ultra-high powered Cortex X2 core as well as 7 low-powered cores, so it's basically the same layout as last year's flagships, just a little bit faster. There's support for triple image signal processors, ray tracing using Vulkan, AI performance that is supposedly even better than Google's new Tensor chip, and a whole lot more, making this maybe Mediatek's first proper chip at the very high end. You love to see it. Now, if you like tech and you truly want to understand how it works, I think you'll love my sponsor, Brilliant. Brilliant is a website and an app that teaches you how to think like a scientist or an engineer, and it does so with interactive and engaging lessons designed by real pros that you will both learn from and really enjoy. They cover topics from basic math and pure logic all the way to applied stuff like computer science, and each class is expertly crafted with a quiz at the end of every segment to drive your learnings home, and proper learning paths so you can go from A to B and actually make some progress. They have just reworked their logic classes with super fun robots everywhere. I love those. Or alternatively, you can pick a topic explaining how computer memory or algorithms work, which I especially recommend if you like tech. I know I've learned a lot from those classes. To get smarter about tech and science, go to brilliant.org/TFC to sign up for free. And if you're one of the first 200 people to sign up using that link, you can also get 20% off your annual premium subscription. So check them out, and I'll see you next week.